First of all, thank you for wanting to meet with me. It's very I'm very appreciative of it.
Absolutely. I'll just have a little disclaimer as we start. I went to high school for some of it with your mother.
I understand. She's filled me in on that.
She was bragging, well, not bragging. I'm very proud of your accomplishments. Bragging just sounds like, oh yeah, that's I'm being like really facetious. No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's really, really cool what you are up to, and just
Thank
a
you.
very interesting story. So I appreciate you joining us this
Of
evening.
course, absolutely. My 100% pleasure.
So you are on the HBO Max show Generation. What's that show all about?
So the show is basically about the Gen Z generation, if you will. It is first of all, it was a super down to earth set, and the cast and crew were super just amazing to be around. There was some type of this aura that was being emitted from everybody there that was super just lovely to feel. So the show, without giving away too much, is about a bunch of different people who struggle with their sexuality and are trying to be happy with themselves as well as being happy with other people with and other people's eyes, because unfortunately in this generation of Gen Z it's a lot of social media aspects in the public eye, if that makes any sense. So um the show is just about a journey of a bunch of individuals who are trying to be happy, just in the blatantness of terms, just to be happy with themselves and to feel comfortable in their own skin, if you will. And there's a lot of crazy things that happen in the show. And there's a lot of plot twists and crazy changes. But yeah, it's from what I've gotten from it so far. I mean, I'm my role is reoccurring, so I'm not a lead or a series regular by any chance for right now. But I am watching the show to support it, and it's just such an amazing take on people in the young generations today in today's age.
So the show takes place in, is it a fictional town that they've created for the
It's
show?
Orange County, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a real place. They're trying to make it as real and as organic as possible in regards to today's times.
Yeah, Orange County is quite conservative. So I
Yeah,
think that
exactly.
it seems like that's the challenge with the show. From what I'm seeing so
Exactly.
far,
Yes. Yes.
is that
You're spot on with that, Robert. The show does take place in a very conservative town. I think the suburbs of Orange County, which is probably even more conservative than the actual urban parts of the city and the county. But yeah, no, they are just trying to find themselves a home and a comfort in their own skin, and they try and bring each other up from the deep, dark depths of mental health and try their best to hopefully be the people that they want to be. And because you really only live once. I guess that's kind of really a way that they try and have an undertone and underlying, sense of a theme.
so? Describe for us, what is your character like? Is it Dave?
Yeah, my my character is very laid back.
Laid
I'm
back.
I'm kind of in quote unquote, pardon my French, but asshole. I'm kind of just a guy who's just like, from what I've got from it, I partake in a lot of weed in the show. Not it's not it's implicit, right? So it's being implied that I'm a stoner. But the show, in regards to my character, is just comedic relief. So yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I was on set for a couple weeks in the past few months, and that's just been a blessing. But I'm excited. One of my episodes just came out. I'm just the beginning with a buddy of mine, now buddy of mine. He and I just opened up on the fifth episode, and that came out yesterday on the 18th. So that's been really cool. Just got to see um, my leg gear getting waxed off, and I was just gonna partaking in a funny challenge on TikTok or whatever. And then he leaves me to my own devices because he has to run and help a friend, and I'm just sitting there like, wait, what's going on? So it's really funny. I'm just more of a comedic relief, but yeah.
How has your character grown? Has it been, this is just the first season. How has he grown through this?
Um, that's a good question. I actually don't really know, to be completely honest with you. I don't, at least in regards from the first season 1A to 1B, I think I've grown in a way of being more vocal in terms of the character and the way things that I say. But ultimately, I'm just kind of just your average class asshole, like the class clown who wants to just try to be um, funny, but is also kind of annoying, if that makes any sense. We all know somebody like that, so I tried to illuminate that in the character.
Oh, we certainly do, don't we? Has it gotten even worse through the season, or is he maturing and getting a little bit better, or that's going to just take some time?
So I don't think it's. I mean, obviously, only time will tell. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any footage besides the first thing that I've done. That came out yesterday. I don't really think he really wants to grow in terms of becoming a better person. I think Dave is a very, at least when I'm playing Dave, it's very yo, what's up, dude? You want to go out behind the thrift store and smoke some weed type thing? You know what I mean? So it's very. I think growing, really only time will tell. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring me back for a couple episodes in the second season. Only really time will tell. But it was a very fun time. You know, everybody on the show is super talented. Like Chloe East, who plays Naomi, and Justice Smith, who plays Chester. Like their performances are super super good. You know, and it's just kind of cool. Like when I was watching the show to support it, I was like, I totally forgot that I was in the show because it's just such a great story. You know, I was like, oh wait, that's me. What? No way. You know. So
how did you end up on the show? How did this all come about?
I got an audition from my agent, but in I think late October around Halloween of 2020, and I had to put it on tape because I wasn't able to go in due to the pandemic. Obviously, as basically all casting offices were closed except for just taping and submission auditions via a self-tape. So I did it. One of my roommates just helped me record it. You know, I just sent in the audition, thought I had a fun time, had fun with it, you know, didn't overthink it too much. And 3 or 4 pages of lines, just did it, submitted it, turned it in, forgot about it. And then I got a call from my agent the next night. And she said, so you're on avail for the audition you put on tape yesterday. And I was kind of shocked. I said, wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, you know, usually I have a better job, just me personally as an actor, as an artist, with the longer auditions that I could show more range. But the audition was merely 20 or 30 seconds. And I said, great, awesome. I mean, my agent Jody, she told me, we'll keep you posted. This is amazing news. You know, especially during a pandemic, we're really excited for you, you know, fingers crossed. And then I got a call from my manager the next morning saying, yeah, here's your details. You're going to be on set this day, and this day. So I was very excited and just appreciative for the opportunity. And the funny part is actually the part when I came back, they brought me back. They had another audition that they wanted me to do, but for a different character. And the casting called my agent. My agent didn't reach out, right? This is something that's kind of not so common in the industry, where casting will call your agent, especially with people in my tier who have some decent credits, but not like a household name by anything of the sense of the word or the phrase. So yeah, the casting director called my agent saying, so we have another breakdown for Generation, but we loved Duncan's original audition so much. We really want him to audition for this either way, and if we like it, and we'll show it to the production team and the director, and if they like it, we'll just merge his character with the new one. So that's what they did. I got an audition, I was around 4:00. They said they needed it by 5 p.m. So I had basically an hour to do it. Everything. I was on my way parking in my parking spot for my townhouse, and I said, all right, I'll try and record it now. I did it, and then I was brought back the next week for a couple days as well.
Sweet. What was that feeling like when it was like you're called back, and then when you got it, you had to feel 20 feet tall.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice feeling. The thing that I like to do for myself is I love when these things happen, but I try not to think about them too much because I consider acting as my job. And, you know, whenever you go to work one day, you don't really think about anything before or after that day. You just go about your next day, right? It's like a day job. And as much as acting is a career and also is also a hobby of mine, I definitely try my best to not think or overthink about the auditions that I go on. I just do it, have fun with it, try my best to keep a little piece of memory that I can keep, whether it be something I can use in another audition or a phrase or just something, some anecdote that I could bring from the audition to something else. And then I just forget about it. So it makes it a lot nicer whenever I do get a call. I'm like, oh, they liked me for something that I haven't thought about in a week or two. That's a pretty nice feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome. That is really cool. So how many episodes are per season now? How many are they shooting?
So from my understanding, there's 16 episodes in the entire first season, but there's 8 episodes that are going to be released in the first half of the season. So they're almost like 2 mini seasons together, if that makes any sense.
They do split it up these days with streaming services.
Exactly. So yeah, they're going to have 8 episodes, and I'm in episode 5. Excuse me, and 4 and 5 just came out yesterday. I do know that the format's they're going to be releasing a bit of each half of the season, and they're going to have a couple month break, and then they're going to be releasing the next half of the season in the same format that they released the first half.
Neat. So what's the reception so far? Are you getting any feedback through various avenues?
Yeah, I mean, it just came out yesterday for me. I mean, honestly, I just think it was kind of a break because the first few episodes are very dramatic and very heartfelt. So it's kind of cool to see that my character could bring forth some laughter, and then it just goes right back to it. Just like, oh, hey, wait, oh, forgot. We're actually in a real world scenario. It's not just this or who's dating who or who's hooking up with who. It's just a funny, really groundbreaking scene. I mean, I saw it for the first time last night, and it was really, really funny. I am really happy with my performance, and hopefully other people will think the same,
So you don't mind watching yourself? 'Cause a lot of performers are just like, I don't even watch.
I think it's funny. I try, the way that I watch things is a little bit unorthodox compared to some other performers from what I've been told. I don't mind watching myself. I think it's a room, not necessarily a room for criticism, even though that's always going to be there, but just to have fun and celebrate that I could have put forth such a performance in a way. I don't think my performance was amazing or groundbreaking. I mean, I thought it was good, but it's not. I'm very tied to being to the story, right? And the story is not just told by one person. It's a series of people telling a story and doing different mindsets and avenues and directions with their characters that bring forth this surreal experience, not just in Generation, but in any show or any movie or any film, basically. So I try, if I'm in it, great. If I'm not, it's all about the story for me.
So this is on HBO Max. Where can we get HBO Max? Here's a little cheap plug for.
If I'm not 100% sure, you might just have to go to the HBO Max website. I think it's like $15 a month. But yeah, I do know that one of the show's funnier scenes that I was not in, but one of the funny scenes that was in an episode or two prior became viral on TikTok. It got 1.5 million views in the first couple hours, which is cool because that's also free advertising for the show. And that means more people are hopefully going to see me and be, oh, yes, that's a pretty funny scene,
You got to do that. Use these avenues and really get it out there. There's so much content. It's really tough to try to compete with that. So.
Exactly. What's funny, you bring up a good point, Robert. For me, if I would be acting for the rest of my life, that was the only thing I'd be doing. I'd go crazy. So I have other avenues for creativity and hopefully talent that I can portray. If you'd like to hear about them, I can tell you a little bit about them.
Yeah, you also do DJ work, and you're into the music
Correct.
world.
Exactly. Yeah. Kudos to you for I am a music producer. I sing and I DJ in my songs. I also produce everything originally from scratch. So I have a digital audio workstation, or a DAW for short, and I've been working on that and looking all through the nooks and crannies of every little button or software addition that I can use. And I create all my own sounds from scratch with digital synthesis. So it's pretty cool.
What type of music do you enjoy producing? It sounds to me like maybe you're into the modern dance music type stuff.
Electronic dance music. melodic electronic dance and melodic trap are by far my favorite genres. Yeah, so I try and make, again, it's going back to that same philosophy of mine for the story, that you can have the best singing and or the best production for a song, but you need to have somewhere for it to go. You need to have a change, a dynamic type of understanding that not only the artist knows, but that the artist can transcend to the people listening. And it's really cool because a lot of my friends and people who have hit me up on Instagram or social media saying, I heard your song, it's very good. It's been on repeat for the past few days for me, which is very nice for me to hear. But I think the only reason why they say that and why they're doing that is because it has somewhere to go. So you can relive the story every time you click replay.
That is so cool. So what type of artists are you working with in the music world?
I work with a mentor of mine. His name is Robert Eibach and also David Longoria. They've basically been helping me guide myself. I don't want to say they've been guiding me, but they've been really giving me that ability for me to understand exactly where I want to go. And they've been kind of giving me the hand, not pushing me, but guiding me in the sense of the word where I can guide myself. I've been working with them basically since day one. They've taught me a lot of things, but they also have given me an ability and a confidence that I'm able to create and not feel ashamed of creating something or being a little bit more experimental when it comes to sound production and sound design.
Nice.
So as for the artists, I really haven't worked with too many well-known artists, at least that I'm allowed to say right now, but I am allowed to tell you that again, all about that story. If I find somebody who has a voice that's very unique and natural and they could sing, they're not going to be like Sia or Bruno Mars or anything like that. Right. But they're working on it. They like to do it and it's fun. I don't consider the production a chore by any means. I consider it a hobby. I consider it very fun. If I make a few bucks on the side, that's awesome. But ultimately it's just something for me to for me to kind of take a break from acting for a little bit, right? Because as I said prior, if I do acting for the rest of my life and all look at these sides in my room for days upon weeks upon months, it's going to make me go insane. So I need to have an outlet or something I can use to almost escape, to use it as a crutch for something else, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that totally does. I could completely understand that. And don't forget that we have a lot of actors out there who've also they were primarily actors, and they've also gotten into singing as well and music production. So it's all that right brain creativity type stuff.
Exactly. And it's one of these things that's just super nice and refreshing. Right? Whether if I'm doing music for a while, I go back to the acting or vice versa. It's just the constant balance is very therapeutic to me.
Oh, totally. Completely. Where are you shooting Generation? Is it actually in Orange County or are you
No, we were shooting in LA. But yeah, and then I mean it's just they obviously have a lot of effects and editing team to make it look a little bit more like Orange County, but for the time that I've been on it, we were just shooting in downtown LA.
What's it like though? I'm sure you all follow the CDC guideline protocols.
Yeah, so there's we always have our masks on, and the only time when we're allowed to take our masks off is when the camera's hot. And we also have to, if we're shooting indoors, we have to open up all the doors. And the COVID compliance team on that set was super down to earth. And they're just like, hey, we have to all do this. We have to follow the safety guidelines. It's unfortunate, but we have to do it because we want to keep everybody safe. And that's our number one priority, even more than getting a good take. So I was very comfortable. I didn't think, and also we got COVID tested every day.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And you kept it going and
yes.
You got the whole season in the can.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't have the biggest role, but hopefully something else will lead to it. But I mean, it's really nice to be a part of that team and tell the story. And be a part of that universe. I think it's very, very cool. Right now I'm in 3 episodes. For the first one was in episode 5 that I'm in a little bit of. And then I'll later on, I believe from what I've been told, I'm in episode 11 and 14. So it's been a little bit, incremented out a little bit. So it's not just one thing and then I'm done, which is really cool. The fact that they upgraded my role from a co-star to a reoccurring is is very nice. Just it's nice to hear, because especially during a pandemic, it's really hard for actors to get work. And the fact that I booked my initial role in the pandemic and to be able to be brought back is very refreshing to me and makes me realize that maybe this is something I could do even more so than I'm doing right now,
So, who on the cast do you primarily work with? Who in there, and how have they inspired you? How's it been working with them?
Well, the first actor I hung out with and had my first scene with is a guy by the name of Sidney May Diaz, and he's really cool. By far one of the coolest people I've met on set in general. He's also a musician, so it's really cool to kind of vibe with that. And
Nice.
he's a supporting, if not supporting lead, and it's really cool because I play one of his best friends in the show. So it's really cool to just see that constant specificity of the characters and who they hang out with and where you see who, when, where, and all this kind of stuff is just really cool. Later on, I can't really say it because it's not out yet, but there's a scene where I'm even more of an asshole in a classroom setting. So that's pretty cool.
Keep it general.
Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, how tough has it got to be? I'm sure you're nothing like that kind of a character. You probably knew a lot of
So this is funny, right? My acting technique, I knew a lot about I know a lot about assholes and how they act, but me personally, I consider myself the farthest thing from, and also I consider myself hey, what's going on? Like, you want to hang out? It's cool. Let's do it. Whatever. But definitely not the type of guy like, ew, like, what the hell is this guy doing here, guys? Hey, ew, dude, you're wearing a terrible looking shirt. That stripes do not look good on you, pal. You know what I mean? So, but the cool thing about acting, at least the way that I perceive acting and the way I try and do it, is giving an outlet for extrapolation. And what I mean by that is I don't put myself in the character's shoes. I put the character in my shoes. It's inverse. Huh. And a lot of people ask me why my booking rate or ask me how I book occasionally or get callbacks a bunch. And I think I stay true to the confidence that I have as the ability to transcend a story. That actors are nothing more than people transcending a story with a vessel that there is their body and their mind and their voice. One, and two, to be able to extrapolate based on an experience that you've had in the past. It could be the farthest thing from it, but if the essence of the original emotion you felt in the scene, or that you're going to feel when you perform it in a scene, is even remotely identical or remotely similar to the feeling that you've had even 5 or 10 years ago, right, in your past, right? Even when you were a young kid, right, you could feel rage or anger, right? And even to the point where it makes you go insane. Obviously I've never had that feeling, but if I have the beginning of something being able to sprout, and then I could take that and make it grow in my performance, then I'm doing due diligence as an actor and also to myself.
That's fantastic. That really is. So it must feel really good to be able to express that and being able to get yourself in somebody else's shoes and say, and it must be very, very fresh in your mind, though, high school and the type of people who you knew at that
time. I definitely think everything is better in the long run when you look at it with a positive perspective. Like, I used to think, what happened to me back in Ohio or this and that, it was very glass half empty, right? And then now when I look on it, I see nothing but the glass 100% full, right? Sure. Because even if you look at the glass being half full, right, there's still 100% of that water in that glass. So if I look at it, if I go a little closer in and hone it in, that's still 100% full. And it's, perception, it is just key, and everything with your perspective as well, and looking at it with positivity. I think that really jumpstarts or ignites something that I wish everybody could see. And I'm not perfect at either, right? Like some days I'll be really upset or don't see it the way that I want to see it, but that's where adaptability plus empathy and plus education equals happiness, in my opinion.
So going back, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town called Hudson, Ohio. It's close, northeast Ohio, by like Cleveland territory.
That's right. For those who are not familiar with Northeast Ohio, I am familiar with Northeast Ohio. Grew up there with your mother. So that's gonna be. So you so growing up in Hudson, when did you get the acting bug?
I got the acting bug actually when I thought I'd never see any bug, because I was very uninterested in a lot of things because I was bullied a lot for things that I couldn't control. So it really hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
I lost a lot of motivation, and it really deteriorated my mental health a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
I got it because I went to this something called a Barbizon class.
I remember
Uh,
them.
and they had an acting, like, local agency attached to it. And the Barbizon referred me to that agency, and they picked me up, and I went to this thing called IMTA. And after being bullied for so much, I really didn't have any motivation to do anything else but try and hide or become, or I guess victimize myself, because it's what was catered to me for years. So I went to this training for the acting convention called IMTA, or the International Model and Talent Association, and I fell in love with it. And we got to New York Sunday night, and on Monday afternoon we had my first competition, and by Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. I had 4 offers of representation on the table. So
Oh,
it was nice to hear that people enjoyed my performances and just liked my vibe and liked my look. It was very refreshing to me. Kind of reignited that spark and that lust for life that I thought I had lost.
that is a really good positive story. A lot of kids and kids who see this and know your story know that it gets better. It really does.
It does. And as much as bland or as bleak it may seem, there's always going to be a cloud. And no matter if that cloud's a storm cloud or a rain cloud or a regular fluffy, white cloud, there's going to be silver lining at any time. Just depends on where the sun is. And the only thing that changes the sun for the way that we perceive it is time. So time will heal and time can change, and time is the ability to adapt with time is, in my opinion, the best coping mechanism and the best gift that anybody has ever given us as people. Because obviously nobody ever feels 100% euphoric all the time, right? Everybody has their ups and downs, but as long as you know that without the downs, there would be no highs. Because if you're feeling high all the time and feeling great, feeling awesome all the time, without any contrast of the lows, there's nothing. The happiness is meaningless, in my opinion. I guess you could say I'm living proof. I've never been so happy if it wasn't for the sad downs that I felt, right? It's that contrast that reaches when you reach equilibrium. You're just like, wow, this makes the happy time so much more enriched.
Oh, totally. I would think though, since I've been in Ohio and all these, the last 3 decades, there's been so much more awareness about bullying in school. But I even hear now people from the recent, you graduated 5-6 years ago from high school.
Yeah.
This stuff's still going on. I think people are,
It's unfortunate. It's very
terrible.
unfortunate. Yeah. But I do think a lot of people, not just in Northeast Ohio, but in general, don't really want to deal with it from an administrative point, because it's super hard, because they have to give everybody the quote unquote equal and most fair, just, they have to treat everybody with the fairness that they deserve, I guess. And, it's really hard for administration, especially in this day and age, to blame somebody, because everybody goes through things. And with social media, I don't think, well, actually, I do think very much so that social media influences all this bullying, and all this, whether it be anti-Semitism or slut shaming, or, unfortunately that's a terrible word, but it happens a lot, and it's a terrible, and I'm very upset, that unfortunately girls in high school and have to feel like that. But when a guy hooks up with somebody, right, they're seen by other guys like, yeah, nice job. When a girl sleeps with more than one guy, people are just like, ew, what the hell? And that shouldn't happen. I hate that there's this stigma that we attach everybody. It's just so unfortunate, and social media unfortunately blazes that up a little bit. And I think in terms of just mutual respect and understanding for not just people who identify as any gender that they please, or a guy or a girl, or somebody who's short or somebody who's tall, somebody who's strong or somebody who's scrawny, diversity is the best thing that ever happened to the world, in my opinion. And I think that's why, at least in regards to my acting and music, I try and be unique, because I believe if anybody wants to do something creative, they have an outlet to do so. And no matter what people may see you as or what you see yourself as. Creativity is not prejudice. Creativity opens everybody to everything. And I think the more that we understand, that movies and film and television and commercials and music and any type of creative outlet is completely and 100% open to everybody of all shapes and sizes or genders or mindsets or regions or ethnicities, then we're doing our due diligence as people, but also just the exposure that we get to multiple different types of groundbreaking projects, whether it be music or film or anything under the sun, really. The ability that we get and the freedom that we get to look at our own creativity without a grain of salt is a blessing, in my opinion. And I definitely think no matter whatever anybody's going through or whatever anybody feels or how they feel towards themselves or one another, the ability to create is a coping mechanism that will not only help themselves cope if they're going through a darker or rough time, but can help change the trajectory of life as we know it in a positive manner.
It's a healthy way of looking at everything. That's fantastic.
So I think with all that being said, I don't want to be a performer or an actor or a musician for anything else but to tell a good story. And a lot of people that I was fortunate enough to not necessarily interview, but to know as a mentor or as a colleague or as a whatever, right? I think they've all kind of told me that stories have been here since the beginning of time, right? Even before, modern day civilization, stories have always been, even before language was a thing, right? If you look back at hieroglyphics, right? They told stories in pictures. And
right.
That we don't know what any of hieroglyphics mean, right? We don't have a template or a translation, but we know based on seeing those pictures in correspondence to all the other pictures before and after them that we can see a story. And I think as an actor, the only way to be successful and the only way to be completely 100% true and organic to yourself and your craft is to be able to understand and amplify that there is nothing more for us to do than tell good stories.
Yeah.
That's basically, my entire essence of my being, if you know what I mean, Robert. So
totally. Yeah. That's fantastic. So after high school, where did you go? Did you go to school beyond that or?
I actually went to 5 different high schools. I grew up my freshman year and a little bit of my sophomore year were in the Northeast Ohio territory. And then I went to a couple high schools out here in California because I moved out here with my mother when I was just about to be 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been here for quite some time.
Oh, yeah. That is a time out of
especially at my time of growing up and my age. 7 years now is a lot more crucial than 7 years when I'm 35. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm 22 right now, and I'm still think that all this is very the ability to grow and to know, hopefully, the things that I have retained and can regurgitate to other people in hopefully a positive manner to make them either raise an eyebrow in a positive way or think something differently is great. But I think I've been set on the right direction, but ultimately as many people have been setting me on the right direction, I will never really know I'm on the right direction and I'm on the right path until I see it myself. It's one of those things like you can be told everything over and over again by everybody, but you don't really completely and fully understand it until you see it yourself. And in high school, I grew up as a child actor, right? I mean, I left school sometimes, not on a long-term basis, but like a day or two to go to an audition or a booking. And it was hard, but I was just upfront with my teachers and my administration at my high school. And I said, hey, I have an audition. It's going to help me pay for college. They said, yeah, go for it. No worries. We'll give you the homework and just turn it in when you're done. And that's exactly what I did. So I think there's a really great benefit of being clear and concise and filled with clarity, when you go about things. Because a lot of other friends of mine who were actors just said, oh yeah, I'm sick or I have to do this. And then they started a whole entire thing with the school. But I think being transparent is very, the honesty and the way that I say it is very unique. And it allows people to kind of be more on my side, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it totally does. Totally. Honesty is the best policy, always will be. I think you were in
Exactly.
the right culture for that because teachers probably have seen,
I hope so. I mean, that goes back to the bullying thing, right? I mean,
sure,
in terms of being clear and concise, a lot of administration, at least in Northeast Ohio, right? And I'm not saying it's just them, it's everybody.
sure.
They have a hard time giving everybody that benefit of the doubt, and or that, well, if I do this to you, or if I punish this person either by a suspension or an expulsion, or if it has to go to that point, or even just a detention, right? Am I really doing everybody justice and giving everybody the fairness treatment, which is great, right? It's a great mindset, but they have to be a little bit less black and white. They have to be, there's a little gray area where everybody should be in, right? Because obviously life is completely gray in the sense of it's either you do or you don't. That's not true. There's specific cases that can be, I don't want to say manipulated, but that can be seen in a different light. And also everything and everybody should be seen on a case by case basis, because nobody is the same. Even identical twins who have the exact same look, right? They're still completely different. And we can't base one person off another person's template, because each person's template is completely unique to them and only them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Has the show Generation addressed bullying and online bullying, all the things that are happening in the culture?
I think so. Honestly, for me, it's a little bit too early to tell, because I've only seen the first 4 episodes, and it's been great by the time. I do definitely think that Generation does a fantastic job on letting everybody know, and whether it be an audience or in the cast or whatever, that everybody has their demons that they deal with every day, whether it be a big demon or a small demon or whatever. And you can't judge somebody and you can't hate them for having a bad day. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So it's a great thing to just empathize and understand that maybe you don't know what they're going through, and you have to be courteous and respectful. And I think they're doing a great job of illuminating that on screen. I think it's definitely a great way to be, for that story and that mindset and the ideology to be shown, if that makes any sense. I think they're doing a great job, and I'm hopeful, that I'll be back to hopefully have a bigger role later on. But if not, that's okay too. I definitely think the story is just an amazing and juicy story that everybody's going to resonate with one way or another.
Yeah, so important. Have you met the creators of the show?
I met the director, who has basically, so it was written by an 18-year-old girl, actually, and her two dads. So it's really cool. So not only does the show have backing, the writers have backing, and they know exactly what they're feeling in terms of the LGBTQ community, right? Because, that's just how the girl, the nice young woman is super amazing with her scripts, and her two dads just wanted to push her and give her that sense of understanding. I have not met the young girl Zelda, but I've met the two dads who are the showrunners and the producers of the show, and they're just super down to earth, and they just want to tell a good story. And that's why I think Generation is going to succeed super well in its category, especially on HBO Max, because it's got that amazing vulnerability as well as understanding of a truth.
Totally. Watch it, HBO Max. Order it now. We're all part of the company here. My day job is with Warner Media News.
Yes, that's fantastic.
We're all in the family here.
I heard exactly.
Definitely going to share this with my coworkers, and we're just really excited for all that stuff. So before Generation, what roles did you have in TV and film?
I had a role on a show called Pen 15 on Hulu for a co-star. I played Scotty Field. He was one of the funniest characters I've ever had to portray. A young kid who's 16, 17, who knows all the girls think he's cute, but I have a lot of insecurities, and I don't really care about them because I'm a 16-year-old dude, and I just want to get some action, if you will. So, yeah, that was fun. I've also done about 18 national commercials over the past 7 years. Most of them were non-union, but I'm part of the Screen Actors Guild. I am SAG, and so it's great. And I've done a couple things, from like a Nerf gun commercial to the first audition I ever went on was that Nerf gun, and I ended up working on a commercial shoot for 3 days with that, to a spot for Frontier Communications, to a Honda commercial, to an Australian mattress company for the company called Sealy Mattress to
Yeah.
so many other things.
Great.
And I've done a lot of short films. I've done a feature film where I played a kid who helped help, I guess, help a murder. And I didn't know what I was doing until this girl comes at me. And I'm like a fellow student of hers, a fellow, student that she is in class with, and she finds me by a locker and beats the living crap out of me. And it was just a really cool thing to being in a couple trailers for concept films for movies. But I will say, I'm not allowed to say too much, but I will say I just booked a series that's going to be filming in the next few months. I can't say what or when, but as a lead, and I'm really excited because I'm also going to be acting with my younger brother as my actual brother.
Okay, how many siblings do you have? I know your mom was.
I have two younger ones. I'm the oldest of three.
Oldest of three. Okay.
Yes, correct.
I don't know why I was thinking 4 or 5.
I think
grew up with a lot of other people from Cleveland.
There's two brothers that I have, and I adore them with my absolute entire being. One of my brothers is about to turn 21, and he goes to school in Indiana as a biomedical major, biomedical science / nanomedicine, and a computer science. He's just doing it all. And then my other younger brother, he's about to be 16, and he's a fellow creative like me. So he and I really, really, really bond, and I take a bullet for him no matter what, wherever, whenever.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. Gosh, so close in age too. My gosh, it must have been
Yeah.
really busy growing up and having everybody so close together.
I had a little bit of feuding, not gonna lie, with my little brother who's about to be 21, but now he and I are best friends, and it's a setting for me just because I'm selfish, because I really want to spend time with him around this time. But he lives in Indiana right now, but whenever he comes home, we always hang out, and there's never a day that we're not together. And my little brother, a youngest brother, he's growing up, doing his thing, becoming a teenager, mid-teenager, so it's getting a little rough in terms of the growing up, but he's got two amazing role models, hopefully, that he can look up after. So that's been great for him. And my family, we all I moved out here to LA with my mother for a trial period, and that trial period became a new home, and my entire family moved out with us 6 months after that trial period. So we've never left, and it's been wonderful for all of us. So definitely think it was a dream come true. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I have cousins out there. One of them was a boom operator for years.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Lived out in Malibu. I think he's still in Malibu. Loves the water.
Malibu's an amazing beach city. It's just so beautiful. The waters. During the summer, sometimes you can see, like, at some parts of Malibu, you can see like dolphins and some fish fly out of the water. It's just so an exhilarating experience.
The PCH, I remember going there, meeting him and having lunch. This must have been 16, 17 years ago. And it's just, I can never forget the grand vistas and the water. It's like, yeah, you're in the great environment. What else do you do? What do you do for fun and hanging out and going around Southern California?
I like to just go on drives. I mean, it's such an amazing city. I also like to hang out with friends and family and go get ramen. I know ramen's a big craze out here, the gourmet ramen bars, and I do that. And I honestly just hang out with friends. We just try and create as much as we can, whether it be finding somebody to jam out in the car with me, and then he or she says, like, yo, like, are you looking for anybody to sing on a song? And then we end up going to the studio last minute and creating a really amazing song or production or something beginning of, or going to the movie theater, obviously pre-COVID. And yeah, just going out to like restaurants and having fun and just enjoying the fresh air that you don't really get anywhere else but Southern California. And I know there's a lot of smog here, but I think the air is fresh as hell just because it's the down to earth tendency of the people that just makes the air so much cleaner to me.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And also, in that regard too, the smog has cleared up a considerable amount because there's not been as many cars on the road due to the quarantines.
I know, a real big plus with us.
I can literally see LA from my townhouse, and usually I wouldn't be able to see downtown. So it's really cool, and it's just the air is getting warmer. The beaches are opening up a little bit more again. So I'm just excited for the summer.
Yeah, life will come back pretty much not exactly the same, I'm suspecting.
But hopefully in a close enough realm to where it feels even a little bit of normalcy will make it great.
Oh,
But then again, that goes back to what I said before. The ability to adapt as humans and to be adapt creatively is one of the best gifts we could ever have.
it's what we do as humans. That's
Mm-hmm.
true. Who growing up, actor, actress wise, directors, producers, did you look up to that really inspired?
So my actor and stage name is my name, but I use my middle initial J. Duncan J. Anderson, in honor of Michael J. Fox. He's my idol.
Oh.
I am, ever since the first time I've seen Back to the Future, it sparked, I guess that's when you could say I deep down had a little bit of a crack in the awakening of the acting bug, because I was very unhappy back then. And after, when I first saw Back to the Future, I genuinely smiled for one of the first times in a long time. So it allowed me to just find that sense of motivation or something that I hadn't seen in quite some time. But yeah, no, him, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, Emma Stone. I love her acting. I think she's great. Let's see, Margot Robbie, everybody, just so that raw, organic type of like, I'm here because I want to have fun, not for anything else, and I want to tell a story. And you could kind of see it. That stuff shows. It shows in their performances, and it shows in their interviews and everything. So that's where I kind of strive to be.
That's awesome. I mean, maybe one day, and I know a lot of people who have idolized, a lot of people in the business wound up working with them in some project at some point or another. So
absolutely,
fingers crossed you can get there. That's for sure.
Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Absolutely.
So where would you like to take the acting going into the future, and the DJ work? Where would you like to go with all of that?
So I have a slogan that I've kind of made for myself. It's actor by day, DJ by night. And I think in acting, I mean, I'll never be happy, and like I'll never be satisfied until I'll never be satisfied. It's always the time of growing, understanding, and I like to be in a performance. Like, I'd like to hopefully be an A-lister actor one day. I'd like to be hopefully a household name in the realm of, like, people know me not just for acting or not just for music, but for being hopefully a good person and a creative and wanting to change the world with creativity. I definitely think that's where I want to be, probably most of all. But I definitely think I'm going to be using my acting and music as a platform to get there. Right. I think too, I could be a motivational speaker or something along the lines of that, or, celebrity testimony or something. But I guess the short answer is I want to be as famous as you can get, but not for any of the reasons besides telling a great story and having fun and giving the best life that I can give myself while I'm still here. If that makes any sense.
Right. You have a lot of options beyond even acting, though, and so many have become directors as they've gotten older, and producers. So you're in that business. This is where you're learning it. So that's
absolutely. And ultimately, I learned the most. I go to college right now for entertainment, advertising, and marketing. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be using it in both realms of music and acting. But I learned a lot at this school. My school, Woodbury University, is really, 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 really great. And their teachers are all in the industry for where I'm looking to go. And I'm basically in a major that combines two together. So that's pretty cool. But I learned the absolute most on set. Even as an actor, I learned all tricks of the trade for all outlets of the entertainment industry on set, because it's a collaborative, it's a harmonious exercise that everybody's doing, and when they do it right, you get a fantastic product.
Oh, it sounds like such a well-oiled machine too.
I hope so. And even if it's not oiled as well all the time, whether it be acting performances or direction, it's still a harmonious activity, and that's what makes it beautiful, right? The fact that it could be different from something else.
Yeah, you're in just the right place. Here in Atlanta, Georgia, we've been doing a lot of productions for many years now, and very busy right now too. I heard Bruce Willis is here in town.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's super cool. It's a good day to die hard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. He's so super cool. But yeah, other than that, it's been a really fun journey, and hopefully nowhere near over yet. But I've had a great time so far, and I look forward to every day that I can be a creative in this industry, in this town.
That is really, really fantastic. Well, it has been a fun evening. I enjoyed speaking with you.
You as well, Robert. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
The show's Generation, HBO Max. We love HBO Max. We want to see much more of HBO Max in the mainstream. So order it today. Definitely get and watch Generation. It's an excellent show. So it's been great speaking with you. I really
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you again for everything and all the amazing questions. It allowed me to think. And I love thinking because the more I think, the better of a creative I can be. And the better creative I can be, hopefully I can help more people in the long run. So thank you.
Best wishes to you. Have a good
Likewise.
evening.
Absolutely. Thank you. You as well.
Take care. Bye-bye.